Welcome back to Navigating the Streams. I'm Mike DeLong, and I've gathered all the new movies coming to your streaming services in one place so you don't have to. I've got what's coming out this month and a look back to see if I missed anything in September. Without further ado, let's find out what's new in October. As always, Netflix comes first. On the 2nd, we have Rockstar, Dookie from the End of the World. It's an Argentinian music documentary. On the 3rd, we have a dramedy called Steve. It's got Cillian Murphy as a head teacher who's trying to manage his mental health while the reform school he runs may shut down. Also, Shai, a student there, struggles with his past and future prospects. On the 7th, we have a comedy special from Matt Musker called A Humble Offering. And on the 8th, we have a Brazilian drama called Caramello. A stray dog and a chef embark on a journey of self-discovery. On the 9th, we have a Filipino drama called Only We Know. A retired teacher and a widowed engineer form an unlikely friendship as they try to deal with loneliness and judgment from others. On the 10th, we have a movie I'm excited about, Nouvelle Vague. Richard Linklater directs this memoir of sorts about French director Jean-Luc Godard and his classic, Breathless. Also on the 10th, we have The Woman in Cabin 10. This is a thriller with Keira Knightley, starring as a travel writer who believes a woman was killed on a luxury cruise, but nobody believes her. On the 14th, we have a Thai drama called Everybody Loves Me When I'm Dead. Two bank employees steal from an unclaimed account only to discover that it's owned by dangerous people. On the 16th, we have Bad Shabbos. It's a comedy where an interfaith couple is getting their parents together for the first time over Shabbat when an accidental death gets in the way. On the 17th, we have 27 Nights. An Argentinian woman is committed by her daughters who claim she has dementia. Now, an expert must decide if she's ill or if she just wants to enjoy her life. Also on the 17th, Good News. It's a South Korean political drama where a covert team is determined to land a hijacked plane. We've got a busy 17th because The Perfect Neighbor also comes out. It's a true crime documentary about a dispute between neighbors in Florida that turns lethal, raising questions about stand-your-ground laws. And one more for the 17th, The Twits. It's an animated movie based on the Roald Dahl classic where two orphans team up with magical animals to try to stop the Twits, the two worst people in the world. On the 23rd, we have The Elixir. It's an Indonesian horror movie where the owner of an herbal medicine business creates a potion that triggers a zombie outbreak. On the 24th, we have A House of Dynamite. When an atomic missile is launched at the US, there's a race to figure out who's to blame and how to respond. Directed by Catherine Bigelow. On the 28th, we have another comedy special, this one by Mo Amer, called Wild World. On the 29th, we have Ballad of a Small Player. A high-stakes gambler lying low in Macau meets a kindred spirit who might be the answer to his problems. There's lots of big names in this one, Colin Farrell and Tilda Swinton star, and it's directed by Edward Berger, who did All Quiet on the Western Front and Conclave. This one was thought to be an awards contender, but after the reviews that I've heard, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be checking this one out either. And on the 31st, we have The White House Effect. It's a documentary about the origins of the climate crisis and how a political battle in the George W. Bush White House changed history. Some recommendations coming out on Netflix this month. The Austin Powers trilogy, of which I would recommend the first two. Also, the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy, of which I would recommend the first two. Sister Act, and on the 17th, TMNT Mutant Mayhem. One movie I missed in September is AKA Charlie Sheen. This is a two-part documentary about the life, rise, and fall of actor Charlie Sheen. Next up is Hulu. On the 3rd, we have Werewolves. This is a horror movie about two scientists trying to reverse the werewolf pandemic. I'm pretty sure this one was released on another streaming service earlier this year. On the 7th, we have The Rule of Jenny Penn. This is a horror thriller about an old man who uses a puppet to terrorize the residents of a rest home. I've heard really great things about this one and will probably check it out. On the 8th, we have Stay. It's a horror movie where a divorcing couple encounters supernatural forces. On the 10th, we have another horror movie called St. Clair. A woman is haunted by a voice that gets her to kill bad people, but this last kill is different. On the 17th, we have 40 Acres. This is a sci-fi thriller where black farmers are trying to defend themselves against cannibals in a post-apocalyptic world. On the 22nd, we have a remake of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. A well-off woman brings a nanny into her home to help with the kids, but she's not what she seems to be. I love the original, but I'm not so sure that this remake needed to happen or looks that good. On the 24th, we have a Western called Unholy Trilogy. A young man returns to a small town to reclaim his legacy, but gets caught up in a battle between the sheriff and a stranger. On the 28th, we have another horror movie, The Exorcism. An actor is behaving strangely, leading his daughter to wonder if he's fallen into past addictions or if something more evil is at work. Starring Russell Crowe. Some recommendations I have for Hulu are Atomic Blonde, Barbarian by the director of Weapons. This one is not for the faint of heart. The Blade Trilogy, the Die Hard Trilogy, Edward Scissorhands, a movie I watched earlier this year, Nightmare Alley by Guillermo del Toro, the original Scream Trilogy, and the original Hand That Rocks the Cradle. We also have The Sixth Sense, Cabin in the Woods, and for all you band kids out there, Mr. Holland's Opus. I did also miss one thing in September, a Brazilian drama, Nosso Lar 2. If you're liking the video, please like and subscribe. Share on your socials so your friends don't miss out on any new movies. HBO Max is next. On the 3rd, Bring Her Back. It's a horror movie where two siblings discover a terrifying ritual at their new foster home. On the 10th, The Substance comes to HBO. An aging fitness host is fired, but tries to reclaim her youth and beauty to get her job back. This one is not for everyone, but I love it. Also on the 10th, we have a documentary called The Alabama Solution. Incarcerated men expose a deadly cover-up in the Alabama penal system. On the 17th, we have An Intimate Evening with Adam Pally, which is a comedy special / documentary / concert. On the 30th, we have a movie that got a lot of praise out of Sundance back in January called Sorry Baby. It's a dark comedy about a woman who's trying to deal with some tragedy while the rest of the world moves on. I've got some recommendations from HBO as well. The Midnight on Elm Street series, Bronson, which is a movie that helped put Tom Hardy on the map. This is before any of his work with Christopher Nolan, and it's great. Beetlejuice, a couple of modern classic horror movies, Hereditary and The Witch, Uncut Gems, which is a great Adam Sandler dramatic performance, and The Lobster from Yorgos Lanthimos. Apparently they snuck this year's Superman out on HBO Max without letting any of us know ahead of time. We've got Prime up next. On the 1st, we have a crime drama called Play Dirty. A ruthless thief and his crew stumble upon the heist of a lifetime. On the 8th, we have a rom-com called Maintenance Required. It seems like it's You've Got Mail, but switch out the bookstores for mechanic shops. And on the 9th, we have a documentary called Saquon. It's about the life and hardships of Saquon Barkley, Super Bowl champ with the Philadelphia Eagles. On the 10th, we have the movie that I'm most looking forward to this month, John Candy, I Like Me. It's a documentary about the life of actor and comedian John Candy, as told by his family, friends, and co-stars. Also on the 10th, we have The Ballad of Wallace Island. This is a comedy about a lottery winner who tries to get his favorite musical duo back together. On the 16th, we have Our Fault, or Culpa Nuestra. This is another entry into the Fault series. Nick and Nora's love is tested. Will they stay together or go their separate ways? On the 18th, we have Companion, the sci-fi thriller from earlier this year, comes to Prime. And on the 24th, we have a thriller that's based on a true story called Eden. A group of people settle on a remote island and they're tested by nature and each other. On the 29th, we have Hedda, starring Tessa Thompson. Hedda throws a party to try to help her husband get a promotion. But when her former lover arrives, an ulterior motive arises. And on the 31st, we have the horror movie The Woman in the Yard. A woman appears in a yard of a family home and delivers mysterious warnings. I've got some recommendations for Prime too. Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is one of the best horror movies of the last 5 years. Being John Malkovich is a wonderful movie from 1999. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is an underseen Guy Ritchie movie. And I believe the entire James Bond series is coming to Prime. Peacock comes next. On the 3rd, we have Honey Don't. It's a dark comedy where Margaret Qualley stars as a small-town investigator who gets wrapped up in a strange series of deaths tied to a mysterious church. I've wanted to see this one, but the reviews weren't great, so I don't know if I'm going to check it out or not. On the 10th, we have How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action remake of this animated modern classic. On the 30th, we have The Fall Guy, the action comedy from last year. A stuntman needs to find the actor he doubles, but gets wrapped up in a crazy conspiracy. Also on the 30th, we have Touch. A man tries to get in contact with his first love, who disappeared over 50 years ago. Peacock has some good horror and comedy movies coming out this month too. Brightburn, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Ghostbusters, Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, The People Under the Stairs, and The Ring. Also, Megan 2.0 came out on Peacock in September. Paramount Plus is up next. On the 7th, we have Ozzy Osbourne, No Escape from Now. It's a documentary where Ozzy is dealing with his health issues and the end of his life. On the 10th, we have Vicious. It's a horror movie where a young woman fights for her life after receiving a gift from a stranger. Paramount Plus also has a few other things coming out that you should probably check out. District 9, Fight Club, First Blood, the original Rambo movie, which is so much better than the rest. The Machinist, Christian Bale, has a huge body transformation in that one. So good. The Fly, and a movie I need to check out, Green Room. We have a release from Disney Plus this month. On the 3rd, The Balloonist comes out. Gabby's life gets turned upside down after a balloonist crashes into her chicken coop in this Dutch dramedy. Disney also snuck the box office flop Elio onto their streaming service in September. And for the second month in a row, we have something from Apple TV Plus coming out. On the 3rd, The Lost Bus. It's a real-life drama about a bus driver and a teacher trying to save 22 kids from a California wildfire. And on the 24th, we have Stiller and Mira, Nothing is Lost. Ben Stiller looks back at the life of his parents and comedy legends, Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira. That's all we have for this month. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this streaming video. Which movies will you be catching up with this month? I think there are at least 5 that I'm going to try to make time for. My next video will be a roundup of every movie I watched in September, including a lot of Asian horror movies. Thanks, and I'll see you again soon.